Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of What's Up Danville. I'm your host, Mark Aaron, Multimedia Design Manager for the City of Danville. Today, joining me is Pat Daniel, who's the Executive Director of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Danville area. And Pat, we really appreciate you taking time to join us this week on What's Up.
Thank you, Mark, for allowing me to be here.
And Pat, I want to talk about, of course, this wonderful organization. We always have Pat on each and every year talking about Bowl for Kids' Sakes.
Yes.
We have some of the kids on talking about what an impact this organization has in their lives. Mm-hmm. And I know Pat reached out to me, and because you're in need of volunteers for Bigs. You're always in need of volunteers. And that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on today's show, kind of a call to action to our community to kind of help out this wonderful organization.
Thank you.
So first off, let's give a little background about Big Brothers Big Sisters. I know you all have been in the community for over 4 decades, right?
Yes, we have. Judge Skendaris, who was the juvenile and domestic relations court judge here in Danville, just saw a need because he had so many youth coming through juvie. Mm-hmm. And so he said, I really got to do something. And interestingly enough, even though Judge Skendaris is dead and gone, his wife is still involved because she carries that passion in her heart. So we're just very thankful for what she has done to sustain our organization as well. Right. But anyway, he saw these children coming through juvie, and he said, I've got to do something. And so he started it off with just boys. Mm-hmm. And then another group came in with us called Sores, which is a Greek word for sisters, and brought the sisters in too. Right. So he also took a look at Big Brothers Big Sisters nationally and said, this is something that we need to do in Danville. Okay. So Big Brothers Big Sisters was formed in 1973, brought youth and youth boys and girls together. Right. To make an organization. And so we serve children in the community, even from the start, from ages 6 to 14. Right. And even though we may serve children after that, because they're still matched with their mentors, still their cutoff is 14.
And these are lifelong bonds that are made between these bigs and littles, isn't it?
I can't even begin to tell you. One of the persons that has been in my life met their little when they were 8 years old. They have gone with them all the way through high school, gone all the way through college, then was best man, and then was there for the birth of the children. And so then when the little got ready to buy a house, he called him and he said, listen, I need some advice. You've got to help me. And so it's a lifelong experience, and we believe that it changes the lives of the children forever for the better. And that's our mission statement.
And you make a good point there, as you said, the big, or the little call the big and just ask for advice.
Yes.
And that's really what they want. They just want someone to talk to. And when they're smaller, of course, they hang out with them. You can take them to do great things. You can do homework with them. There's a lot of great things to do with your littles. Absolutely. And those are some of the great things you can do if you do volunteer to be a big with the organization. But it does go throughout their lifetime. It's a friend for life.
It really does. And what I tell my bigs is not to do anything outside of what you normally do. Right. Don't save all your money to go to Disney. Don't save all your money to go to New York because they've never seen a baseball game. Children have to eat dinner just like you do. Yeah. So it'd be okay for you to invite them over and have that spaghetti supper that y'all have on Wednesday nights. Right. And that's no different than what you'll be spending already. We have some bigs that have done extraordinary things as far as financing of what they were going to do, but it's not about the money. Mm-hmm. It's all about the relationship between the big and the little. Yeah. And we had one big who gave their little $10 every week. Wow. So with the $10, they could go to the movies and have popcorn, or they could go to McDonald's, or they could buy a new shirt and go to McDonald's.
That's great.
And so they had to learn how to manage money by being involved.
So you're really teaching them life lessons as well.
Life skills.
Now, tell me, if an individual out there is watching and would like to volunteer with the organization, how much time do they need to commit to that little each and every week with the organization?
We ask for 1 hour per week. Okay. Mark, let's be realistic. By the time you go pick them up,
Yeah.
it's an hour.
Yeah, right.
So, but we ask for 1 hour per week. We have 2 different programs. One is our community-based program, and the other one is our school-based program. In the community-based program, you go to the child's home, you pick them up, do an activity with them, return the following week, and do the same thing. Then the school-based program, you go to the school, have lunch with them, and then the following week, you do the same thing.
Okay.
So at school, you're talking about what the kid next to him is
Yeah,
doing.
right, yeah.
And it's amazing how everybody at the table becomes involved in
Yeah,
the
I'm sure.
mentoring relationship. But they talk about what happened, what the teacher did. They talked about their next homework assignment. Is it okay for you to bring a pencil if they don't have one? Sure it is. Is it okay if you brought today's paper so that they would have that to refer to, or help them bring them a copy of something that will help them with the school project? Sure, that's okay. So, we're in the schools, we're in the elementary schools. Once they get to be high school and middle school age, it's like, I want to be your mentee, but please don't come by to school.
Right,
And if
yeah.
you got a
I
uniform,
understand
please.
that. I have a 12-year-old son at home,
Yeah, so you understand exactly
Yeah,
what I'm talking
yeah.
about. So, we get to that age,
Right.
don't.
Yeah. Well, now tell me, how many volunteers do you need currently? Are there bigs out there? I mean, littles out there that need bigs?
Yes, we have about 20 children, and we do same gender matches here at Big Brothers Big Sisters, because of the issues that could be involved in that. And Mark, just let me say one thing about that. I'm renewing my insurance policies now, and people who have a lot to offer in our community are concerned about being sued or being held liable. Big Brothers Big Sisters carries insurance on our board members, our staff, as well as the bigs and the littles, in case there's an accident. That's not your fault.
Right.
So that is one thing that. So we have a need for more male mentors than we do female mentors. We have about 5 girls that need mentors, but don't let that stop you, because people are constantly applying.
Yeah.
And so if you are female and you're interested in mentoring, it's a possibility that we may not have a person for you today, but we may have one for you tomorrow.
Now, you mentioned the application process. Talk to me a little bit about that. Where can I come down to your office and tell me a little bit about that process?
You come down to the office, and I'm going to tell you if I'm in the office, because there's a part that has to be notarized. If I'm in the office, we're going to get your application that day. We're going to get it done that day so that you don't have to come back. We don't want you to be inconvenienced, that kind of thing. You can call us. We can send you an application. You can go online, biglittledanville.org, biglittledanville.org. Get an application, send it in to us online. You can go to the Nationals website and get, that's Big Brothers Big Sisters of America website, and get an application. And so then what happens with the process, once we do the initial application, then we bring you in for a sit-down chit-chat, and we do your criminal background check, we do your child protective services check, because Mark, let's be for real, you wouldn't send your 12-year-old out with anybody who doesn't have those credentials.
Right.
We make sure you have your car is insured, because you're going to be driving our babies around. To me, it's personal.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
And so, we get all of that, and once we get everything is clear and we get that back, and it takes longest for that child protective services check to come back, because the state does that. We don't have control over that. And right now, because of all the school folks and the people who work around children, it's slow.
Okay.
Yeah, but it does come back, and then we do a personal interview to see what it was like for you growing up. What was your relationship like with your mentor, Mr. Bob, who lived down the street that taught you how to play catch?
Yeah,
Miss Nettie, who cooked you cake all the time. So we find out all of those things about you before we even consider putting you with someone.
Now, how do you match the big with the little?
Well, what we do, we take a look at who's been on the waiting list the longest, because we want to be consistent. I looked at a film the other day, and there was a child that had been on the waiting list for at least a year. So we want to prevent that kind of thing, because even our national organization looks at that and goes, why is it that it's taking so long? But if you don't have mentors, you don't have mentors. And but we have to take a look at that, and then the need of the child. Are they acting out? Is the parent incarcerated? Have they been without a guardian for whatever reason? So that brings in grandparents and other guardians that apply for the children to be matched in the program. We have to take a look at all that. Are they financially stable? Is there a financial issue there that they won't have exposure to some of the things that we could do? We ask that our children come from single-parent households. Our children are either on TANF or assisted by TANF, and they, like I said, get free lunches. So we take a look at that, and as to whether we put children in the program. Sometimes there are extenuating circumstances. There may be a father in the home, but the father is elderly and disabled. There may be a grandparent, so the child doesn't get to have the same type of relationship that they would have with a healthy parent.
Well, as Pat mentioned, the website there on the screen, and also you can call the number there on the screen to get more information about the application process. And as Pat mentioned, 25 youngsters here in our community who need bigs as we speak. So if you feel led to come help this organization, they would love to have you. And as she talked about the application process, a pretty simple process. And within, I'd say, a couple of weeks or so, you might could be paired up with your little and be impacting the lives of a young child here in our community.
And you can be a child again.
That's right. That's the best part about it, isn't it? And we talk. I remember when we talked to the individuals at the bowl-a-thon. It's a lot of fathers whose children are in college, or have, and that empty nest syndrome, and they get, and like you said, they get to be kid again, and kind of raise that child once again.
That's right. That's right. We have a big now that is teaching his little how to drive. That is amazing. We did have this one man who every time I would call him, because I have to call you once a month to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and so I called him. I said, "What are y'all doing this month?" They said, "Oh, we're gardening. We're getting the stuff out of the garden." I said, "Oh." The next time I called, they were fishing.
That's great.
And then the next time I called, they were studying a auto mechanic book. I said, "What's that for?" They said, "We're buying a car."
Oh, that's great.
So, but you do have to be at least 18 years of age to apply.
Okay, very good. Well, now, if you maybe don't want to volunteer to be a big here in the community, but you want to help the organization, I know there's a lot of different ways that our community can do that. One is coming up pretty soon, September the 11th, and that's if you dine at one of our local restaurants. It's going to be, all the proceeds that day, right? A portion of those proceeds will be going to the organization, right?
Yes, and that is going to be the Lone Star Restaurant over off Piedmont Drive. They're excited about doing this with us, and they welcome you to the restaurant. Anytime you go during the day, they open at 11 and they close that evening, and a portion of those proceeds are definitely coming to Big Brothers Big Sisters to help us operate. We're a United Way partner. I just have to, and we're in campaign season. Absolutely. So we are a United Way partner, and and they support us too. There's several other organizations through grants that support us and make it possible. The president of United Way, he teases me all the time. He said, "Pat, it's all about you and those children." I said, "Yes, it is." And he waves as we get on the D&M bus and go on off into the sunset.
That's great. Well, I know the city of Danville is a pace-setter organization this year for United Way, and we're in the middle of our campaign raising money for these wonderful organizations here in our community. So, Pat, before I let you go, are there any other fundraisers or anything the community can do that's coming up, say, in the next couple of months, where they can really support Big Brothers Big Sisters here in the city of Danville?
Well, there's so many ways that you can, just a couple of ways that I'll mention today that you can support, and that's through volunteerism, and we've talked about that. We've talked about donations. You can make your personal donation. If you want to become a member of our Sustainers Club, and you want to make a monthly donation to make sure that the organization is running as though it's supposed to on a monthly basis, because we still have bills on a monthly basis. And so even if it's $5 a month for a year, that would be of great help. But if you got $10,000 $1,000 you can send us a month, we'd
We'll
like to
take
have that
Yeah,
too.
we'll take that too, I'm sure.
Advocate, talk about Big Brothers Big Sisters being the premier mentoring organization in this city. We're the only organization who has a focus and and our mission and vision is centered around us being the premier mentoring organization in this city. One-on-one mentoring between a caring adult and a child who needs us. We also want you to have a heart and a passion for what it is that we do. So you can donate, volunteer, or advocate for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Well, Pat, that's three great ways the community can get involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters, but I know you also can be a Big for a Day. So tell me a little bit about these events.
The Big for a Day gives you an opportunity to become a mentor. If you don't have the time, you don't want to make that commitment for a year, but you would just like to do it once. We have an opportunity for you to become a Big for a Day where we take excursions. We're getting ready to go to the UVA William and Mary game, even though I'm a Hokie. So, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's all
I'm
right.
thankful for the tickets.
Yeah.
And so we're going and we're going to take the kids and we're going to take volunteers to mentor them for that day.
That's right.
And so that's an opportunity for us. And also something that we haven't gotten to yet, Mark, but we're moving towards is workplace mentoring, and where basically you shadow. The mentee will shadow the mentor for at their workplace, and we're hoping that it will be a long-lasting relationship, that we can teach children how to work in a hospital, how to work here in an office. So those are some new things that are on the horizon that have been tested in other markets, but we haven't gotten to it yet, but we're looking forward to it.
Well, that would really expose them to a lot of different things by doing that. That's great.
Give them some soft skills.
Yeah, that's right.
Mark, one more thing I'd just like to mention, if I could. We've had all of our Bigs of the Year have been just wonderful, and that's why we call them the Bigs of the Year.
Yeah.
Last year, our mentor was Miss Daisy Simmons. Miss Daisy is now 90 years old.
Wow.
Every week, she gets in her car and she drives to Tunstall Middle School to mentor a young lady that wouldn't have it any other way.
That's
Before
dedication.
school even ends, she starts saying, is she coming back? And then this year's Big of the Year is Mike Mondel, who is also on our board. We're very, very proud of him. He went from having one little, and he said, Pat, it didn't work out. Let me have my next little. So he's made a tremendous impact on that young man's life, teaching him the soft skills, just teaching him how to be a man. And also, he was able to get him involved in 2 Upward Bound programs this summer. Well, one of them was at JMU, and the other one was at Duke. And so, he really was exposed to a lot of different things at those venues. And we're just really proud of Mike and what the impact, not only he is the epitome of what we want a volunteer to be. He advocates, he volunteers, and he donates. Yeah.
As Pat mentioned, there are youngsters here in the community as we speak that need that now, need some of those volunteers. 25, as you said, 20 boys and 5 young girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, if you want to get involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, log on to the website, or you can give Pat a call, the number on the screen. And again, on September the 11th, head on down to Lone Star, because a portion of the proceeds that are raised that day at Lone Star will be given right back to Big Brothers Big Sisters. Pat, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and we hope we've reached somebody out there in the community that will come knock on your door, give you a call, or log on to that website and sign up to be a volunteer today.
Yeah. Thank you. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Pat. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
And thank you at home for watching. Until next week, have a great day.